threats and the extortion.
And another thought occurred to me. What if you had left the girls' night early? Or didn't go at all? I know that Vic must have been in shock when JT showed up there to attack her, and I know my mom didn't mean to kill JT, so she must have been really...
And we are listening live now to the mayor of Houston talking about a shootout that happened with officers yesterday. Let's listen in.
Express their support for the men and women in blue, for the Houston Police Department, for these officers. So I want to thank them for that support. Had a chance to visit with the officers who remain at the hospital. One will be released today if he's not already released, and then had a chance to see the two who are in more serious but stable condition. And let me just tell you, we are so very fortunate to have officers of the quality and caliber chief that we have. They have they are strong. As you know, one of the officers, as you've reported, was shot previously, but came right back to the force and still moving forward. And this time was shot again, and had a chance to visit with him. And quite frankly, we just had to kind of just step out of the room because he just wanted to engage. He just has as my mom would say, he has a very strong constitution. Okay, a very strong constitution. And even in his situation, working that smile up on his face, wanted to communicate, and when he couldn't talk, got a pad and a pencil and was writing and communicating with us. That tells you the sort of person that we have. Another one is serious condition, and I'm not calling any names, but someone who had gotten a college degree in another field and was doing some other things, but it wasn't gratifying for him. And then he decided to become a police officer. And as his family has indicated to me, it was like the light went off. And he was once he became a police officer, he found his calling, and he was happy in what he has been doing. And he too has a strong constitution, a strong will, and we wish him well. His mom wanted me to put forth this message, and that is to let the public know how police officers, men and women in blue, how they come and they put forth and they sacrifice themselves every single day. That they go into places not recognizing or realizing what the danger will be, or what sort of danger that they will face, but they do it anyway. His mom wanted for me to say to the general public that these are individuals who serve others, sacrifice for others, sometimes risking their own lives. And she initially, the mom was saying, didn't know whether or not her son should continue to do afterwards, but also recognize like the 200 police officers that we have, that this is a part of their calling. This is what they do. This is the sacrifice that they make, and we should all appreciate and value what they do every single day, every minute of the hour, every hour of the day, because we don't know what would happen when they are called upon to respond to a call, or they're trying to serve a warrant, or what sort of responses they will get. So I want us to continue to lift up the family, their spouses, their children, their parents, because it's hard on them as well. And then I cannot say enough for our police officers who have just been there around the clock, and there are police officers literally that have been around the clock. Chief Acevedo, I don't think he has slept, or his command staff, I don't think they have slept at all. So I want to thank them and continue to thank what I believe is the best medical team in the country, Memorial Hermann. Let me just give a shout out to them. because the medical staff from top to bottom, the medical staff has been incredible, incredible. And I will tell you, yesterday, when I got the call and came here, Chief, we did not know whether or not one or two of them would make it. That was on yesterday, but today their situation still serious but stable, and we are very grateful and thankful because prayer does work. I'm a politician, okay? I'm a public official, but if you allow me to say this, one thing I do know, there is power in prayer. Absolutely. And prayer does work. And I know oftentimes you hear us saying, pray for the officers, pray for those who are injured, but I want you to know yesterday, when they brought one of them here, things did not look good. But they immediately were able to rush the person to surgery, and things got better. And so there is power in prayer. It does work. I want to ask that you continue to pray for each and every one of them for a full recovery, so that they can get back on their feet, get back to what they have been doing, what they've been called to do, and that's continuing to protect the people in this city. So, but let me just say, criminal activity in our city, you know, if you see something, you say something, okay? The best way to keep things of this nature from happening, of course, is on the preventive end. So if you see something, say something. Know your neighbors. If you see something that's happening that's not that's out of the ordinary, or if you see some illegal activity that's taking place, please report it, because all of us have to be a part of protecting the city that we deeply love. And let me say, as I tweeted out on last night, City of Houston has gone through a lot, okay, in the last 2 to 3 years. We've gone through a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak, but let me also say to you, the City of Houston is still standing. The spirit has not been broken, and we are still Houston strong. And if there was anybody if you even doubted it, then I can point you to this hospital, to some officers that are in this hospital that were shot, and they are still standing, representing the strength of our city. And I'm so proud of them, and I'm so proud of the people that live in our city. Okay?
Mr. Mayor, you mentioned making sure that neighbors keep their eyes and ears glued in the event that they see something suspicious to prevent this from happening. From the perspective of your position as mayor in your office, what can be done to prevent this? Well,
you know, of course, you know, we have 5,200 police officers. On yesterday, let me just take place of what happened yesterday. We had the press conference announcing the Tillman facility, to the training facility. That will help quite a bit, because we have a number of people who are stepping up, philanthropists. That'll be the 4th facility of its kind. That's important. We still need more police officers, okay? Conservatively speaking, we need about 600 more, okay? We need more police officers. There's no question about that. We have 5,200 police officers covering 640 square miles. And if you take Chicago, Chicago has 12,000 police officers covering 275, less than half the space. So we need more. We need more community engagement. Yes. And this is not police versus community or community versus police. We're all on the same page, working for the same goals, and that's to keep our city safe. And so the community has to participate as well, okay? So if you see something, say something. If you know something, say something. If you see illegal activity, report it, okay? That will help as well. So police and community working together on behalf of everybody that lives in our city.
You talk about Mayor see something, say something, from Chief Acevedo to Joe Grimaldi, talking about the need for politicians to do their part in this discussion. We know you have the Commission to End Gun Violence, and we've covered you going to D.C. to politic for change. What else can you do on behalf of the City of Houston, either on the state or the federal level, to get people to notice this?
Well, I think you mentioned some of it. We have put forth the Mayor's Commission to End Gun Violence. Those recommendations have been put forth, and we are now in the legislative process, so we'll see what turns out there. Certainly we need our federal partners to participate. We've talked about trying to get a handle on all the guns that are on the street and the illicit drug activity that's taking place. So we need help on that end as well. It's going to take all of the partners, federal, state, and local, working together. This is not a partisan issue, okay? This is a people's issue, and it's going to take us all working together to make that happen. On the local level, we do need more police. We do need to improve the conditions of many of our neighborhoods, and we're working on what we call creating complete communities, bringing up all communities, so that every neighborhood in which you live is a neighborhood of opportunity. That's important, okay? That's critically important. And what we are trying to do is create the division, okay? Eliminating this division, because you want law enforcement and community working together, okay? Because most people, 99% of people are supportive, but we need to be vocally supportive and show it in our actions. And I think the demonstration of love for these police officers is demonstrating that. So this is one of those times in the midst of so much division for all of us to come together, okay? This is the time where we need to come together, not just when police officers are injured or killed. The question is, a month from now, 2 years from now, will this same spirit of appreciation, respect, will it still exist, okay? And that's the hope. So this is a time when we need to come together to be supportive of one another, supportive and protective. Police officers are out here protecting the community. The community has to also be out protecting the police officers as well as themselves. Okay.
Mayor, this is the second time in a little bit over a month that you've been here at this hospital speaking about officers who have been injured in the line of duty.
Yes.
I mean, just talk to me about the fact that you're having to do this again in such a short period of time. And I mean, just the violence that these officers are up against when they're doing their job day in and day out. What are your thoughts?
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't want to forget Officer Daly, because Officer Daly was seriously burned when he was, his vehicle was hit by the DWI. Drinking while driving doesn't work. So I don't want to forget him. And he will be in the recovery phase for quite some time. It is kind of, sometimes the things can be lost when these events, the shooting or the injuries to 5 police officers take place. It kind of, it becomes front and center. But just like on yesterday, we had a press conference announcing that in our city, when it comes to violent crimes from last year compared to the year before, the percentage of violent crimes was down in our city. In nonviolent crimes, the percentage was down in our city. In almost every category, crime was down. Homicide ticked up a little bit, 3.7% from the year before. But when you look at nonviolent crimes as a whole and nonviolent crimes in our city, it's going down. But if there is one crime, if there is one homicide, it's one crime too many. And so the goal is to get it down to 0. That's the goal. And so I do want to commend HPD, Houston Police Officers, Chief Acevedo's command staff, and the 5,200 police officers for doing an exemplary job of tackling and addressing crime in our situation and keeping people safe. Now, having said that, no one wants to end up at Herman Memorial for incidents of this kind. No one wants to. And the hope is, and we're working every day, is that we don't have to do that we don't have to have these sort of events in our city. But it's going to take a collective effort on everyone's part, but when you just look at the raw numbers, okay, and the number of violent crimes and nonviolent crimes in the city of Houston, with the exception of homicide ticking up slightly, that number is down, which is a good thing for the city. But
so you keep talking about the police officers, and you're beating a drum here. Chief Acevedo talking constantly about the need. What does it come down to? Do you not have enough applications? Do you need more money? Like, what's it going to take for the city of Houston to hire 600 more cops?
Well, it's certainly going to take more resources. That's a critical component. No one runs away from that. It's going to take more resources in order to hire more, okay? But it's also going to take even more cooperation and partnership from governments on all different levels. It's going to take more support just coming from the community itself, because we all have to be accountable for what takes place in our city. You know, I'm not just going, and you can't just rely on police to solve every problem or every crime. Okay, police, they're one component, but the community is also a vital component. That's important. They work hand in hand, and then we have to work in tandem with all of law enforcement agencies, with all of the various community organizations. We have to do what we can to address what's happening in our communities, in our neighborhoods, on that particular street, what's happening next door. All of that takes place in order to keep a community, make a community safer. Now, are we working in that direction? Absolutely. Are we where we want to be or need to be? No. But we are moving in that direction each and every day. We're moving in that direction. We need to stop a lot of these drugs that are coming into our cities. And let me just say, a lot of these drugs are not made and manufactured here. They're brought in here. And so we need to work on that. So there are a number of the battle line is on so many different levels. But I do believe we can be successful if we work in tandem and partnership with one another. Okay? Anything else? Chief?
That's it. No, good, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Councilman? Okay. Anything? Thank you all so much. Again, continue to pray for the officers that remain in the hospital. Thank you all so very much.
And you have been watching KHOU 11 News at noon. You have just learned more about the conditions of those officers wounded or injured yesterday, and we have learned earlier today the identities of the 2 suspects killed. Good afternoon. I'm Sherman Chow. Welcome to 11 News at noon. You heard Mayor Sylvester Turner. He just visited with those injured officers at Memorial Hermann Hospital, praising them for their courage. Here is a look now at the wounded officer's conditions. 1, shot in the face. He had an operation yesterday. He is recovering. That officer will need more facial surgery. Another officer also had a gunshot wound to the face. He is a 50-year-old sergeant and a 25-year veteran of the force. He is expected to be released from the hospital later today. Third officer suffered a knee injury during the chaos. He is a 50-year-old sergeant, has been with HPD for 37 years. He is expected to be sent home later this week. There is a 4th officer who is still at the hospital. He is 54 years old. He was the case agent. The police chief described him as a fighter, calling him tough as nails with a big heart. The chief says this is the 3rd time that sergeant has been shot. The first was in 1992, the second time in 1999, and yesterday was the 3rd time. A 5th officer was discharged from the hospital yesterday. 33-year-old officer had a gunshot wound to the shoulder. We are not releasing any names at this time because the wounded are all undercover narcotics officers. They were investigating a tip about black tar heroin. This was at a home on Harding Street in Southeast Houston about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Those officers were serving a search warrant when they breached the door. Police Chief Art Acevedo saying that is when the suspects, Dennis Tuttle and Regina Nichols, opened fire on the officers.
After he saw his fellow officers come under fire, he heroically made that entry, and I'm just going to say it, he just passed a note to one of us, one of our officers, that said, I had to get in there because I knew my guys were down. And that just speaks volumes as to this man.
The chief getting a little emotional there, speaking about that officer. We will, of course, continue to share any new updates on the officer's conditions. The chief also showing us photos of the two suspects killed in yesterday's gun battle. But who are they? New investigative reporter Cheryl Mercedes has been digging into their backgrounds. What a first story for you. What have you learned, Cheryl?
Well, Sharon, Dennis Tuttle and Regina Nichols, it seems, lived a relatively quiet life until yesterday when those narcotics officers showed up at their door. The couple lived there at that home on Harding Street for at least 20 years. That's according to Harris County clerk records, which show the couple listed that address on their marriage license back in 1998. Dennis Tuttle is listed as the owner there. The KHOU 11 Investigates team dug into both of their backgrounds and found Regina was in court back 10 years ago over a theft by check, which is a misdemeanor. She paid the $145 she owed, and that was the end of it. Dennis Tuttle appears to have no criminal record. Houston police told us there was only one call for service at that home in the last 6 months, and it was part of a search for a suspicious person with a weapon. But that call on January 8th was cleared after the officer found no evidence of a crime there. We expect to learn more as this investigation continues. Sherman, back to you.
All right, thank you, Cheryl. And just a quick note, we have heard from our crews on the scene that the male suspect's sister, a woman identifying herself as the sister of Dennis Tuttle, has arrived on the scene. She is talking to reporters. We'll have that for you a little later on. Meantime, we continue our team coverage, and we get a first up-close look at that house, which was ground zero when officers served that warrant yesterday. Our Adam Bennett spoke with neighbors who were within the line of fire.
A neighbor's tip is what brought police here to this home yesterday afternoon, and today you can clearly see the aftermath of a shootout that started, police say, when the officers approached the door and somebody inside started shooting.
Oh, I was scared because I thought it was in my house. But
whether it was Maria Sanchez next door,
it sounded like they were shooting here in my driveway,
or Robert Antu across the street, neighbors say yesterday's gun battle on Harding Street hit way too close to home.
I got up to look outside, and man, I seen the officers standing there with guns pointing down, talking to whoever was on the floor. All of a sudden, there was some more shooting. And boy, that's when the police officer came down, told me, get back, get back.
Neighbors and police identified the couple who lived inside the home as Dennis Tuttle and his wife, Reggie.
They never had company.
It's always just them two and their 3 dogs. You know, easy going. Didn't bother nobody.
A neighborhood anxious for answers.
I was wondering how they get their money because he hasn't worked in a long time.
Officer down.
After a day they'll never forget. And the house next door does have surveillance video, though a man living here told me that police took it as evidence. Reporting from Southeast Houston, Adam Bennett, KHOU 11 News.
Yeah, no doubt officers will be looking for more potential surveillance video from that area. We'll have updates on this story making national headlines. This will be at KHOU.com and our social media pages. We will be right back.
KHOU brought you thousands of stories in 2018. Amazing triumphs, heartbreaking losses, thoughtful coverage of events both massive and intimate.
If we did